Hello and welcome to the second in a series of videos where I discuss the pool of games that I'm thinking about playing on the channel. If you missed the last one, basically these are just some of the games that I'm thinking about playing. I'm still open to suggestions. The next game I play won't definitely be one of these games, but these are the ones that I'm thinking about playing. And the three major groups of games that I'm thinking about are 10 games that I've started and like to finish, which you can see at the top and was in the last video. I'll have that video linked in the description for this video. There'll also be a playlist on the channel. And the second topic is what we'll be discussing today, 10 games that I would like to replay. And then next time we'll discuss 10 games that I've never started. So top 10 games that I would like to replay on this channel. I am big into platformers. And we haven't really, with the exception of a little bit of Princess Peach Showtime, we haven't really done a whole lot of platformers on this channel. But one of my all-time favorites, in the running for being an all-time favorite for me, is Kirby's Dream Land 2. This is one of the first games that I actually beat, played to completion as a child, was super proud of. Had this one on my Game Boy, remember playing it a lot in the car, at least when it wasn't dark, because, Game Boys didn't have a backlight, so you couldn't play them when they were dark, unless there was, like streetlights or something. You got super lucky. But I would love to run through this, and it would also be a quick one, which is something that I'm attracted to. I wouldn't have to spend, months and months playing this game. I could probably beat it in a week or two, if we streamed twice a week, maybe beat it in just a few. So that would be fun to do. Also, Kirby is a big game franchise for me, and it's just something that I haven't gotten to touch on the channel yet. Continuing with platformers, probably the other game or games that is in the running for favorite platformer of all time would have to be the original Spyro trilogy from the PS1, which was released a few years ago, or re-released as the Spyro Reignited trilogy, which was one of the games that I got to sit down and play through during COVID. So I've played through all three of the originals on PlayStation 3 as a kid, and got to play through all three of the remakes during COVID on the PS4. So really enjoyed these. Probably the best remake, HD re-release, blah blah blah, whatever you want to label it as, game that I've ever played. They're absolutely beautiful. They're a ton of fun. Drake loves them. So that's something I've also considered on the channel. Getting a little bit away from the realm of platformers, we're going to talk about one of my all-time favorite RPGs, Ni no Kuni: The Wrath of the White Witch. Ni no Kuni means two worlds in Japanese. It's a JRPG with story and cutscenes done by Studio Ghibli, who's a famous Japanese animation studio, who you may know for Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, House Moving Castle, Kiki's Delivery Service, My Neighbor Totoro, among many others. Played this game on release. I actually was working at a game store when this came out, and I got it the day before release. Don't tell anybody. So yeah. And played it through, it was another COVID game. I put it down for several years just because of life, and then this was probably the number one game that I wanted to finish. So during COVID, I picked it back up and played through the entire thing. Played it on PS3 and actually got the Platinum Trophy for it. Put a lot of hours into it, probably close to 200. Ton of fun. Would love to play it. I've also been curious about trying a Nuzlocke with Ni no Kuni. Next game that I would love to replay, Harvest Moon: Back to Nature. In the world before Stardew Valley, if you can imagine such a thing, this was my favorite game. This was the first farm RPG I ever played, and of course it's the one I got into the most, the one that I have the most nostalgia for. Comparing it to a lot of the other old school ones, I think it is legitimately the best. I acknowledge that I am biased, and a lot of that is nostalgia. And I love a lot of the other ones as well, including Harvest Moon 64. But I think of the old school Harvest Moon games, this one is the one that stands out, is the best, was my favorite video game for years, and I would love to play it on the channel. Something else that was big for me as a kid that I would love to play on the channel would be Pokemon Snap. This is possibly the video game that I have completed the largest number of times, with the only thing that might be in contention for that being Pokemon Red and Blue. But I would just take an afternoon and play this thing start to finish all the time as a kid. It absolutely blew me away, and I did not think I was going to like it at all. I think when I got it as a kid, I was kind of a completionist. I was like, oh, it's a Pokemon game, let's get it. And it's just like, oh my gosh, it's about taking pictures? That sounds so lame. I think I even rented it first and then ended up buying it. I liked it so much. But it's an absolute blast, and I really want to play it with Drake. I'm not sure how he's going to react to it, but I would really like to do that. All right, next up, we're going to the world of Hyrule and talking about my all-time favorite, The Legend of Zelda game, A Link to the Past. The only one that kind of rivals it is Breath of the Wild, which, you know, might be a better game, but when you include nostalgia, it has to be this one for me. It probably my favorite game, period, in terms of like art and design. Maybe Stardew Valley being like the only other one that kind of rivals it. But of course, Concerned Ape did note A Link to the Past as being one of his primary influences for Stardew Valley in terms of like art. So there's that. I would really like to play it, and I would be shocked if you didn't see me play this game on the channel at some point. And then another one, our second Zelda title that we're including in this tier would be Skyward Sword, which I also adore. And I'm not typically like a huge like story-driven person when it comes to video games. It's more gameplay that's important for me, but this is one of the ones that I really got into and would also like to get on playing on the channel. Speaking of awesome story in video games, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and we'll just go ahead and throw it up here too, Star Wars The Force Unleashed, my two favorite Star Wars games. These games don't really fit with a lot of the kind of cozy-esque genre that I've been playing on this game. You know, kind of cuter games, chill games, not super violent, things that have fighting in them, but, you know, nothing bad. Not that these games are bad, but they're just like a little bit more mature than most of the games I play. So it would kind of be a bit of a departure for me to play these ones, but I'm actually currently reading the Force Unleashed novel, so I'm absolutely going to be replaying the game soon. Will it be on a stream? Will it be on my own time? It's hard to say. It would be a quick one to do, though, which is a point in its favor. I could probably beat it in just a few streams, which may mean that you could see it sometime on the channel soon. And then finally, Shepherd's Crossing, a totally unique farm RPG from the PS2 era, which I randomly found at Walmart, played to finish, and loved. It's hard to describe why this is so different. I guess, yeah, it's hard to describe. I would really like to play this on the channel at some point. One of the things that makes it really different is you can raise dogs and take those dogs out hunting for, you know, like rabbits and marmots and stuff. And then as the hunting portion of it is actually like a turn-based RPG where your dogs are characters and they fight the animals that you're hunting. And then you also get to like raise those animals. Like I think you start with marmots and you work your way up to rabbits, and the game ends when you get a sheep, because that's the ultimate goal. That means you're like the ultimate farmer. If you're a farmer who's good enough to raise a sheep, then you've beaten it. And I think we've beaten this video into submission. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next in this series, and DarthDaimyo is blasting off again.